Ricky.
What's up, my friend?
I was just thinking when you came in, I haven't seen you in 15, 20 years, and it's like we didn't miss a beat.
It's been longer than that.
How long's it been?
You, me, Tim, and Tony were sitting in the bleachers at Cleveland High School. That's how long ago it's been. 1982.
What, the bleachers of what? In the gym?
No, outside at the football field.
See, I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember that?
I remember pieces of stuff.
Well, we both remember pieces of stuff.
Remember that time, I don't know if you remember this, but we was in the lunchroom and you did something and you threw something or something and the principal came by and you went like you was eating, but you'd already had all your trash at the table, but you were acting like you was eating.
I can't remember it, man.
But I mean, it was so funny because if he had looked at your plate, he'd known you weren't eating.
What was that, 40 years ago? 40 years ago, because 2002. But
No, 81, 91.
41.
God.
41 years, brother.
But didn't you come by my office on Paul Huff one day or something?
Well, I told my wife I may have because we were thinking about adding on to our house. And I think you said if it's a house, the way it was set up, you needed to add on back to the back. We didn't have much backyard. And I think that's what it was.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. But as far as us being the four of us together, 41 years, you and me,
Tony.
Really, yeah, Tony and Tim, really,
Yeah.
It's been long. I mean, it's been 41 years.
Have you talked to Tim much?
I saw him the other day at Walmart.
Tim Gobble, my cousin.
And he was coming in and I think we glanced at each other and that was it.
And you see Tony more.
Yeah, I see Tony quite a bit.
Tony, we've seen him, bought tires from him. I mean, he works hard. He's a good guy.
I talked to him this morning.
Did you?
Yeah. I told him just coming. He said, tell you hey.
Tell him I said hey too. He seriously is. He's a really good guy. The story is that we needed some tires, and this has been a long time ago, and we needed some tires, and he let me pay half and then come back and pay half the next month.
Yeah.
And I know he wouldn't do that for very many people, but he's always helping people.
Now, we played on the same intramural basketball game.
Oh, Lord.
Didn't we have to make our T-shirts or something? Remember?
I think we went out and we talked about what we wanted to do. We went out, we got the shirts. They were gray.
Junkyard Dogs was our name.
After the Junkyard Dog. And a lot of people don't know he was a famous wrestler, and that's the Junkyard Dogs.
That was our name of our intramural team.
Did we have 4 people or 5?
I think
we only had, you had to have 5, unless it was 4-on-4.
I guess it was 5, yeah.
But who else would have been?
You wore red shorts.
Yeah, I probably did. I can't remember. How do you remember that?
I just remember that.
I don't know how you remember that.
Did we even do any good? I can't remember that either.
Well, I think we had a good time.
Yeah, we did that.
I don't know if we won. I think we may have won a game or 2. I mean, or not, but we had fun.
I wasn't much of a dunker.
Yeah, but you were the kind that we wouldn't even know you were there. And then all of a sudden you get all excited, be running around, running all over the court. It'd be like, where's Dee? Oh, there he is, throwing the ball. I mean, we had a pretty good team.
We did.
I mean, we had a pretty good team, but there were some better teams. I mean, and then I think they had some intermingle with some people who played on the men's and women's basketball were actually in it too.
Yeah.
But
it was your idea.
Was it?
Yep.
Really?
It was your idea to start the team.
Was it a good idea then?
We had fun.
Well, there you go. We had fun.
But now when you graduated a couple years ahead of me.
Well, no, here's what happened. And I don't tell many people this, but I went 4 years came up 6 hours short, and they didn't tell me. And so instead of going to Bradley for summer school, I went in the military, and that's where I got my GED at.
Did you go to the Navy?
Went to the Navy from 1982 to 1986.
Was that hard?
It was fun.
Did you have to go through basic training and all that stuff?
Went through basic in Orlando, Florida. Went to Radio Manet School in San Diego.
Was basic training hard?
Actually, I found 5 of the guys that I went to boot camp with, and one I had my picture taken with in boot camp. It was, we got one flag. It was called the Cheerio flag, which was for physical fitness. That's the only flag we got, kind of like when we played, intramural basketball. We just, we had the T-shirts that we made.
Yeah.
But we had fun. It was good. I'd go through boot with the same guys again, and I found 5 of them, which it's rare that you find anybody that you went to boot camp with.
But did you have to do a lot of? You were always good at long running.
Well, we ran push-ups, did a lot of push-ups.
Was it like on TV?
Not really, because it's, you didn't have live weapons. You didn't have, I can't speak for the other branches because I don't know how they do boot camp. But the Navy, you didn't have real rifles. You had wooden rifles that they kept locked up. You marched with them. Then you had like a work week. First week was called Hell Week because they gave you hell all week. You'd come in your bunks and everything would be all over the place. Your locker box would be all over the place with stuff. You'd see clothes all over the place. Story is, at a graduation, we were on the 3rd floor, and a couple of knuckleheads decided to whistle outside the window and stuff like that at a graduating. Some girl, this little Marine Corps DI came upstairs, female. And by the time our DIs got up there, they saw the female, and it was over. I mean, we had the floor shiny. That was over. Move the racks back. So you skidded all the racks back against the wall. Everything was all over the floor. Push-ups. We did everything because one guy decided to whistle at a girl.
Huh.
So it's basically one affects all, and all affects one. And
Is that sort of the Navy's motto?
No, but I think it's what you get from the military, that you've got to rely on the guy next to you. If you don't, then you're really not being part of the team. And what it instills in you is teamwork. You got to have the other guy. You got to have the other guy no matter what he does, what his position is. But you got to have everybody together because all the puzzle parts come together to make one unit. And that's what it taught. It taught discipline, how you dress, how you go out. Always have your gig line straight.
What's that?
Well, when you wear a button shirt, you have it straight with your zipper. And so that's straight. Pressure shirts, I don't do that anymore. So
You had to press them then?
Yeah.
Iron, you mean?
You had to iron them and put 3 stripes in the back of them because we wore dungarees. They don't wear them no more. That's how old I am. So
What you had to pick up the shirt?
pick up the shirt, you put 3 creases in them. In a blue dungaree shirt, you'd crease the pockets down, and then you would iron your dungarees because that was part of being SAT, as they call it in the military. That went toward your evals and how you did your job. And, some people wouldn't do that, and then you'd get written up. So I always my uniform was always SAT.
Did you have to swim a lot?
I can't, no, but I can't remember because I know you'll see something for the Navy where they'll have you go off a diving board into a pool. I can't remember if we did that or not in boot camp.
I would remember that.
I can't remember that, man. I can't remember I wore red shorts. I mean, I just can't. That's one thing I can't remember. And it may have been because during work week, they put me on the 50 state flag team because I was tall. And
How tall are you?
About 6'4". And the flag team was where they just, during graduation, they'd have the flag right here. And you would make sure not to lock your knees, because if you locked your knees when it was hot, you'd fall out. But they had me do that, and there was other kinds of things that people did during the work week. But I just can't remember if we ever did that or not.
Isn't it funny what you remember certain things, but some other things you don't? Like, I don't remember sitting in the bleachers with you and Tim and Tony, but I remembered you had red shorts.
And we had fun. Where's Dee? Oh, there he is. But you know, it's amazing because you know you go by Cleveland High, you know, it's just like, you know, like the advertising with Miss Wattenbarger. I remember that just like that. I remember being in class with Coach Kidwell. You know, the coaches that we had there. You know, being told to bend over and get a spanking with the board.
Yeah.
I remember that.
See, I quit there after you left, and I went to Bradley.
So you went to Bradley in '82?
Probably, yeah, 82.
You graduated in '82.
84. I went 82, 83, 84.
He graduated with Jim.
You were a freshman?
I was in the 9th grade when you were a senior.
Really?
I think. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know
Or
that.
no, 10th. No, 9th grade. Yeah, 9th grade.
I did not know that.
I don't know if it was you might have been the 11th grade.
I came back, and I was going to come. I actually came back and was going to do those 6 hours. Then I said no. I said I'll just go in the military and get my GED, which I did. But
was you going in the military or in the Navy to go to war, or was you doing it to be for structure, or what was your thinking?
to get out of Cleveland. I mean, you know, just because I'd never been really, you know, you never really been on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go down there, you're with 50-something other guys that you have no idea who they are, where they're coming, or who they're from, where they're from, and you're all there learning the same things. You know, it's a journey because when you leave boot camp, you go to A school, and everybody goes their separate ways. It's rare that you go to the same A school with somebody and then go to the same duty station with somebody. I didn't go to A school with anybody I knew, and didn't go to duty station with anybody I knew.
How did you know what school you were going to go to? Did they qualify you or something?
When you, before you go in, you take the ASVAB. It's a test that determines where you are and what skills that you have for what job. And my job was a radioman.
Now, why would you take a test and they say, oh, he'd be good for radio? Wonder what was on there that. I guess we don't know, right?
Actually, I don't know, because a radioman, what I did was I had to learn how to type, and I actually got kicked out of Miss Bunch's typing class. Yeah. I got kicked out.
For what?
Because I couldn't type. Seriously, she said, you.
No one knew that wasn't the reason.
Well, she said, hit the door, you can't type. So I learned to type in the military. That was part of.
Are you a pretty good typist?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
How many words a minute could you do?
Probably 35, 40.
35, 40. I've had positions where I've had to type and stuff like that, so I do pretty good at it.
Let me tell you about Capstar Bank. They're located in Nashville, Hendersonville, Gallatin, Athens, Madisonville, Sweetwater, Etowah, and in Cleveland at 950 25th Street and 3855 North Ocoee Street. I've used them. I like them. Give them a try. They're no problem. What was the radio school like? I mean, did they teach you to say 10-4 or good over and out?
10-4, good buddy.
Yeah.
Well, you worked with radio equipment, which, and at that time, was the old frequency. you were actually training to go on prac deck, or you did dry deck. Prac deck, they did Morse code. They got you ready to go to the fleet. Dry deck got you ready to go to a shore duty. And basically, you had to learn frequencies, learn how to type, learn how to read tape. You had to type a certain amount of words before you could qualify and pass the school.
Mm-hmm.
Because basically, that's what you did. You would type. You would have card readers. The old, a lot of people don't know what a card reader
That was
is.
the little holes in it.
Card reader that would put in a computer,
Yeah.
read the cards. I made a lot of copies on a copying machine. That was part of my duty.
Yeah.
When you're a grunt, that's what you do. Here's a story though. I got to Sigonella, Sicily. I took the wrong bus the first night and went down to the shipping dock. I looked at the bus driver and I'm like, dude, I'm not supposed to be here. So I get back to the duty station and I almost get written up for being AWOL because I took the bus to the wrong place. You know, back then you just had the buses run, and if you didn't have a car, that's how you got back and forth to work. I mean, it's totally different now over there. I mean,
And this is in Sicily?
right. It's totally different now. You know, you're talking 40
years ago. 40 years ago.
40,
maybe.
man, that 40 years.
Well, you couldn't even speak the language, I guess,
I
right?
speak a little bit.
How long were you
why
in
you learned.
Sicily?
Tell him why you learned it.
Tu molto bella signorita.
Yeah, to pick up the girls.
Buon Natale means Merry Christmas. I mean, I did enough to, you know.
Pick up the girls.
I was in from 82 to 86.
You were in Italy?
Oh, no, I was in Italy for 18 months.
Oh.
And then I was on board ship over in the Med when Gaddafi was being bombed by the New Jersey. I was on a tanker roller that went around and around in a square, refuel ships at sea.
So you're in high school in 81. You graduate, and
well, I was supposed to, but like I said, I
Yeah.
was 6 hours short, and then
that's close enough, isn't it?
Well, to me it was,
Yeah.
but nobody said anything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's different now because
Yeah. And how would you have missed 6 hours? I mean, you were there just like everybody else.
I guess I didn't make it. I don't know. It was 2 English classes that I failed from Mr. I can't think of his name. Big tall guy. He passed away, but yeah. I mean that was I mean, I had my senior pictures taken. I got my senior pictures at my house. You know, it's kind of crazy to have your senior pictures
Yeah.
taken and not graduate.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and that's why when we were sitting together there, I was coming back because I was going to go ahead and do the 6 hours. And then I said, no, I'm just going to go ahead and military and get it done.
Were we watching the football game?
Nope. It was lunchtime.
And we were sitting out on the.
Just talking. See, it's funny how you remember this stuff.
It is funny.
We were just sitting there talking. That's it.
What we're talking about.
I have no idea, brother. Where we were going to be in 4 years, I don't know. I mean,
Now you grew up on what, Willow?
Willow Street. Yeah.
I remember Willow. I don't remember the house. I just
My dad worked at Bendix. Actually, he started at Jackson Manufacturing for $1 and something an hour. We moved up here in '76, and then we moved to Willow Street, and he worked at Bendix for
He retired from there in
1980.
No.
No, 1990.
90. Ryan was 2 or 3.
He retired at Bendix, but he started making $1 and something an hour at Jackson Manufacturing when we came up here, and then he ended up retiring from Bendix. We lived on Willow. It was 808 Willow Street.
And you used to walk over to Tim's house.
No, Tim used to pick me up to go play basketball.
In that Falcon? Was it a Falcon?
Lord, I don't remember what he had.
Little brown car?
I have no idea, man. We used to go play basketball. Remember the church on, what is the church down there that I tell you?
It's,
The church that had the gymnasium on top of it
yeah,
downtown.
It's United Methodist Church, and I can't think. It's
Not Broad Street. That's
No,
that's
it's-
different.
No,
down off
there was a
of
church
the
that had a
south
gym
of
in it
Boyd.
that we go play and practice at.
Seems like I remember that.
And then if I'm thinking, there was a church over on what's that church I told you that we went to, played basketball? Me and oh man, here we go. Well, the
We can't remember.
we can't
nothing.
remember nothing. There was a church downtown that had a gymnasium on top of it, on the very top second floor.
Uh-huh.
And there was a church off of Wildwood, over by the community center, that had a gym that we used to play at.
Well, that's the United Methodist one off of Ocoee. I'm not sure where else you guys went. Used to
It's the
go.
one where you go right down where they built that nursing school on the left-hand side, and the church is right there on the right-hand side. It's right across from Joe Rogers.
That's
Broad Street Methodist.
Broad Street Methodist. They had the gymnasium up on the
Oh.
second floor. We used to go play basketball at. See?
Yeah. Now, when you got out in the Navy, was you on the ship doing radio stuff?
Yeah, I was doing just regular, basic message trafficking, and that's really all you did is you do trafficking. If you get messages for, like you'd have a routine message, an immediate message, top secret message, because I had a top secret clearance. I only saw one top secret message come through, and that was in SIG.
Can you tell what it was?
I guess I can. I mean, it don't really matter at this point. I mean, I guess, but who knows nowadays?
Who knows? Yeah.
It was the two.
Don't say it. That way we won't be in trouble.
Okay, well, we won't.
me and
I'll
you-
just say that
we've gotten in enough trouble without.
Too old to be in trouble, brother. I saw one top secret message in my life, and that was it. So we'll leave it at that. I'll tell you off camera, so we don't get in trouble, man.
What about now? Did you live in New Mexico also?
We lived here until 1996. I went to leave for 2 years.
What'd you do during that period between '89 and '96?
89 and 96.
Met me, got married.
Met her in 19. We got married in 1990. We've been married for 33 years. Went to leave for 2 years to study intercultural studies.
What's that, intercultural studies?
Working in the urban areas, urban areas in Atlanta, the desolate areas, working with the homeless, working with other intercultural denominations, working with other cultures, etc. Like if you were going to be a missionary or something like that. But then I went to New Mexico, and I went to Nazarene Indian Bible College. It was a Native American school, and it was part of.
Is his cord making noise, Glenn?
It was
Nazarene
part
Bible College out of
Colorado Springs, but it was just a small Native American community with several other Native American groups that went to it, and there was probably 2 white people there, me and another guy. And no, I think what's his name was I think he had some Native American in him. The little guy that graduated with me and Randy.
Yeah, there was a lady. There were a couple.
Well, yeah, but basically I graduated with my bachelor's degree is in theology, my minor and my major, and then I went to
The study of religion?
Yeah, and then I went to.
Did you go through a religious period?
Well, I still am because I'm an ordained minister, but I don't minister at a church, and people don't understand that because. And it's the reason I'm running for constable is because I want to serve the people. I want to serve the community. Everybody needs a handshake. I've preached at urban ministry centers. We've helped feed. We've done all kinds of stuff. Different organizations. But I personally believe that everybody needs a pat on the back. Everybody needs a handshake, no matter where you are in life. And I think we've got a lot of people in this country who need that, and they don't have it.
You didn't really come from riches, did you, yourself?
No. I grew up in Alabama on a farm. My mom and dad worked. My dad worked. My mom worked at what was it, nursing Life Care. She was a cook at Life Care Center on the hill. And then when my dad actually had worked 3 jobs at one time. He worked at, I think he worked at Jackson. He worked at the gas station. Where Benton Pontiac used to be?
Mm-hmm.
If you keep on going, and there's a car lot on the left.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be a gas station.
Some things don't change.
Still at it, man. But my dad worked there, and he worked either at Jackson or Bendix, and I think he worked as a custodian at Arnold School. And my mom worked. So no, we didn't have a lot of money. The basics was having a place to live, food to eat, a bed to sleep in. I remember my dad, when my sister graduated to Lee with Dr. Kahn, we picked purple hull peas in a bushel. We had about, I think, 1 or 2 bushels. And my dad sold those to have the gas to come up here for her graduation. Now, ain't that crazy? But that's just what we did.
How much older is she than you?
14 years.
14 years,
right?
yeah. She's a retired school teacher in the city. She taught at Blythebauer for years, and then she taught in Whitfield County.
So she came from Alabama. She came to Lee College, which was very expensive at the time, I guess, right? For your
It
family.
was expensive when I went there. Well, no, my sister was smart. I mean, my sister worked. She worked and she went to school at the same time. My sister's smart. I mean, to this day, she helps the homeless. She helps those that need a place to live. She'll go out and find places. She'll find furniture for somebody. She has a food bank at one of the churches on the other side of town. So at 74?
73.
73, she's still doing that. She did it all those years with teaching, which is totally different now. But she still does that at age 73.
What's your take on the homeless? I mean, we have a lot more here now than we used to, right? I don't remember us ever having any.
I don't remember.
I don't
remember us talking about homeless villages, because they had one at North Walmart. They had one down there behind.
It's still there, I think.
I thought they cleaned it out.
No, they will move them out occasionally. Then
My thought is this, and if I say this, but you know what? I've always been one to say what I mean, because I think if you don't say what you mean, as somebody said the other day, if you're worried about everybody else, then that keeps you from competing with yourself to be the best you can be. And that makes sense. I think as many churches as we have in Cleveland, we shouldn't have homeless. And that's the honest to goodness truth.
Where should they put them?
Well, if I had the money,
if you were king for a day,
if I was king for the day, I'd buy a big building. I'd hire people. I'd hire teachers, people who could teach them the basics of life, checking, how to get a job, how to grocery shop, how to manage their money. It would be a place where they could live. There would be a cafeteria there. And if they didn't follow the rules and the instructions, then they wouldn't have a place to live. Because I think, I've got a friend, you would know him, but I'm not going to say who it is. You can do and do for people. And unless they want to change, then you can't do anything else for them. You can find a place for them to work. You can find a place for them to stay. You can drive them back and forth to work or, job interviews or whatever. But when you help somebody to the point that you find out that they've left the situation they're in and now they're back to where they were, you can't do anything else for them. And there are people out there who are homeless who don't want to do anything.
Is that their preferred living? I mean, I'm sure it's not all their preferred
No, it's not
living.
all because you got.
Like maybe 5, but you're saying that there's some people that. I was listening to a homeless person here a while back, and they said, "Do you know how much time it takes all day long to figure out what you're going to eat?" He said he's busy all day long just surviving, much less looking for a job. So that's what you're saying is give them a path.
You know, when I was in corrections, I was a correctional counselor, and I was
In Cleveland?
No, in West Tennessee at Hardeman County, and I was a classification supervisor at Whiteville. But I used to teach job skills. I used to teach a class where I told them that when you get out, here's your little box of tools. We would go through check writing. We would go through finances. We would go through halfway houses. We would go through job searches, everything that you needed to get a job, home plan. We would go through all that. I'd say, now if you get out, here's your bag, your invisible bag. Because when you get out of jail, some people are just going to ignore you. Mm-hmm. Some people are not going to want to help you because they see who you were and they don't see who you are now. If a man goes to jail and he does his time and he comes out and he wants to be a active part of society, man, I'm all for it. I'm going to do what I can for him. But if a homeless guy, all he's worried about, and he doesn't think about anything else, because you got to understand there's mental illness in this too. There's a lot of people who are homeless who have mental illness. And the facilities for them are so overwhelmed because there's people who are incarcerated who have mental illness. We've went in on a few who were not on their psychotropic meds on a SORT team. I was one of the men in black. You go through SORT training, going in on cell extractions and stuff like that. But we shouldn't have homeless in America. I do not believe we should have homeless in America. I believe that, there was a place that shut down because of COVID. It was a church. And I'm not gonna say where it was, but they shut everything down. They tried to keep it going. Basically, higher level said no, we're going to get rid of it. So now we have the Salvation Army has opened their doors, which I applaud them. And I think the homeless shelter on Wildwood's still open. But that's it.
In all of Bradley County, that's the only place that we have for homeless.
And
when I was calling,
one is only cold
weather shelter. Yeah.
So it's only going to be.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But when I called around to get this gentleman, find him a place, I called Athens. I finally got him into Chattanooga, where it was a work. You had to go to work. But if you don't have a car, you got to rely on somebody else.
Yeah.
Then he went into a program. Then he got out of the program. Then he was supposed to be in a 6-month program. Well, he left the 6-month program. Then he went somewhere else. And next thing you know, he's back where he was. So some people just don't want to be helped. But if a guy who's homeless, and I've talked to several who had been at this certain shelter, who had jobs but didn't have a place to live. Can you imagine that? You go to work, but you don't have a place to live.
Yeah, where do they sleep?
Wherever they can. But that tells me that guy, there's something in that guy that he wants to better himself. And I'm like this, if you want to better yourself, if you're hustling, if you're working, if you're trying your hardest, I don't care if I lend you a hand and you move up beyond me, that's what I want for you. I want you to be more than me. If you become president of your own company, outstanding. But even if you find a place to live and you're working, you're doing what you need to do.
Affordable housing is part of the problem, though.
And maybe not even housing. Well, affordable.
Well, I know
place to stay.
Yeah.
Right.
They built the new. They took the people out of the place downtown.
Oh, the Summit.
The Summit, and they built it, which I have to applaud, because they've got medical, they've got everything right there. They've got everything they need in that housing project over there. But we still have homeless. we still see people who are homeless.
You know, maybe it's because they can't do drugs in
Well,
there.
It's part of
that's
it,
another
too.
problem that we face in this country.
In Tennessee, overdose deaths are what, the second leading cause right now.
Dang, that's a lot.
We face a crisis.
Why do you want to have a passion for helping homeless?
Well, you know,
Because you're more familiar with it than I am.
I've been asked by 3 people. One person I said that I knew, I wanted to put a sign up. He said, "Why do you want to run for constable?" He said, "Why?" Another guy last night told me, "You can't help people." I said, "Yes, you can." I said, the Bible commands us to help people. That's the Great Commission, that we are supposed to help our brothers.
Irregardless of the results, I guess.
Irregardless. For me, and my wife could go into this more, but she's seen, because I don't do things for a pat on the back.
On the courthouse square at 30 2nd Street is the law firm of Logan Thompson Law. Since 1965, they have served the legal needs for the good citizens of Cleveland Bradley County. If you've got a problem, they're no problem. Give them a call.
I think that we still can help people. I really do. Now I've helped people because I felt like I needed to. And there's sometimes I won't help anybody because they will abuse the privilege of you helping them. They will take advantage of you. But people are afraid to help people now. I mean, like last night I'm talking to the guy and he says, "No." He says, "I'm not helping nobody." I'm like, "Why?" You know, people were drawn to Jesus not because of what he did, it was because of who he was. I want people just to see me as just a person who wants to help people. That's it. I don't need a pat on the back. I don't need anything. Because I think when you get your pat on the back, that's your reward, and you're doing it for some other reason. But go ahead.
You weren't really a big religious guy, were you?
No. You know better than that.
So when did that change? Or are we talking about religion or just wanting to help people?
I think when I was at Lee, how old was I at Lee?
We were 25 when we got married. So
Okay, so about 20. So it's taken, because I'm 58, it's taken the path that I've taken from, where I've grown up, my grandparents in Alabama, my dad, my mom, my aunt, my uncle, my mom who passed away, being in New Mexico, seeing what I've seen in New Mexico, working at the places I've worked, seeing the people, and everything that I've been through. But there comes a time in your life, a professor told me this, there comes a time in your life when it clicks. When something in your mind clicks. And when that clicks, you understand what you're supposed to do in life. So, it could have been when I was in New Mexico at the Native American school, when I went to seminary for a semester. Any input from you when it might have clicked?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things.
The religious click or the wanting to help people? Or wanting to
people.
But you seem to be somebody that's not necessarily just wanting to help people. You seem to be people that need help is the ones you're wanting to help.
If we walk in to the cashier working at the gas station, some people don't understand the job. When I walk in, I see a person. I see a person, I say, "Hey, how you doing today?" Don't know them from whoever, but then I walk away and I say, "Stay safe." It's just being nice. You know what I mean? It's just being nice to the waiter. It's just being nice to the person that you walk by. Just saying, "Excuse me. Thank you, ma'am." It's how we were taught.
But what good does that do? I mean, in reality, you're saying it's minuscule, but it's a big help.
I think if you can lay your head on a pillow at night and keep your integrity and your ethics and your morals, then you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. There's stuff that I do that I don't tell her for people because I don't want. But there's stuff that we've done together for people that we've talked about, and we decided we wanted to help them. That's where we go back to when people say you're an ordained minister. Well, where do you minister? And I say, well, I don't minister at a church because I think people in our world need ministering. With this COVID thing, people have gotten scared. You know, they want you to take this, they want you to do that. People watch the news. People are scared. People don't, you know, when you and I grew up, there was interpersonal relationships, interpersonal communication, where if you went to the store, you talked to people, you weren't on a phone. We've gotten away from that. You go to Walmart and you look at people. All they're doing is getting their groceries, going to the checkout and leaving. They don't want to communicate with nobody. But you don't know what they're going through. A lot of people can be hurting. They can be financially drained. There may be something going on in the marriage. There may be something going on with a family member, cancer. I mean, all kinds of COVID. We've had friends who've died in the hospital from COVID. My wife had a high school friend who died 2 weeks after we had the reunion.
So you're saying people sometimes are going through something, going through a living hell, and you don't even know it, and they don't even show it.
And maybe you just being nice. You don't have to know what it is, but maybe you being nice to them makes them smile.
You remember back in your past somebody that did that you didn't know that made you feel good or anything?
Well, there was a guy that was incarcerated, and he got paroled. Next thing I know, I see him walking down the hallway, and he started hollering, "Mr. Humphries, Mr. Humphries." I'm like, "Oh Lord, what did you do?" He said, "I got busted going around and around my block in a car because I didn't have no driver's license, so they revoked me and sent me back." It was funny, but it wasn't funny. But it was the fact that he saw me and told me that. I've seen people that who've been incarcerated that I talked to after they've been out, because I was always firm, fair, and consistent with people. If you're always firm, fair, and consistent with people, then they know who you are. You know what I mean? You've got a business to run, so people have to know who you are. They have to know how you run your business, what to do and what not to do.
So consistency is important to your relationship with.
And that's, if people know who you are, and it's not asking for anything from them, it's not trying to get anything from them, it's just being nice. It's just knowing maybe they're having a bad day and they just need somebody to say hi to.
Can that really make that much of a difference?
I believe it can. I believe if it makes a difference to one person for me, then that's good. You know, if I can help one person, then I'm happy. If I help two, that's awesome.
Now, how does being constable play into this? Because that's a real big step, and almost that's outside of your. I don't know if it's outside of your wheelhouse because you've. But I'm seeing you as you think this constable job is going to allow you to help people, because I don't think you'd do it otherwise.
Well, I already work for an attorney here in Cleveland doing civil processing. So a lot of civil processing has to do with financial loans that haven't been paid or divorces, etc. So I have to go meet these people where they are, and you have to have a good rapport. And you have to have a good interpersonal relationship with people to do that. You know, you can't be thinking you're better than they are, because we're all, as somebody said, we're all fellow travelers on the same highway. And being constable for me is the ability, and I have met some awesome people so far, man. I've met some awesome business people in Charleston. I've met some awesome people just by talking to them, and I plan on meeting a whole lot more. But everybody that I've met, it just, it's a new relationship, and because Charleston and Cleveland's getting bigger than it was when we were here. Charleston is still small, but and I live right before Willie's, and Willie passed away.
Yeah.
And that was really sad because he'd been in ICU, my understanding, and I got to see him, and he always told a joke when you saw him.
Yeah, always. Same, a lot of times same joke.
Same joke he'd been telling you forever, yeah. But I love the community I'm in. I love the people in my neighborhood. I love to be able to go to the Piggly Wiggly in Charleston and just talk to people. And it's just being able to go out to let people know there's somebody else there who cares about you, who cares about the community you're in, who cares about, I don't promise people anything, because you start promising people things, well, then we know how that starts. I didn't ask for any money for my campaign, and I won't, because then that's a whole different story. But I want people to know who I am. When you see me driving around, because I drive a big white Dodge with a flag on the hood, on the tailgate, and on the back window. If you want to sit down and have a cup of coffee, let's have a cup of coffee. If you see me, I tell people, if you see me, wave at me. I've stopped in businesses in Charleston, and just people that I've never met. And well, I'm running for constable. Well, that's awesome. Cool. And that's not all the time, but I want to make Charleston better. I want people to know there's somebody that cares about the Charleston community and the people in it and the district.
Where is that district? Where's the lines for that?
It's a little complicated. If you go Dry Valley down to almost Roman Brook.
If you go,
it goes all the way to the Polk County line on that side, and then it goes all the way across to almost Candy's Ridge.
Okay, let me read. My wife was telling us about that. It goes Candy's Ridge.
Candy's Ridge.
It's Frontage Road. It's Mouse Creek Road. It's what's Northley Highway to Dry Valley Road. So it's a big district.
Very big, yeah.
Very big district. And there's a lot of people in that district, and a lot of new houses going up too.
Wow.
So it's a big district, but people didn't know who their constable was. Everybody, and I think you should know who your constable is.
What are the duties of a constable?
You serve civil summons, but you can also do garnishments. You do evictions, which can't ain't really pretty. I've never, I've done one when I was working for a management company, but
just in that district, or can a constable go in other?
They can go in other districts because you have to be sworn in by a judge. So you are you're a civil servant, but you're not a law enforcement. You're not a deputy. But you can be used.
Well, some of your tasks can free up.
But like during the Halloween, when they have the Halloween festival in downtown, you can be used as security there. You can do funerals. You can do business checks. So you still have authority, but you still have to go through 40 hours of training, same way as sheriff's deputies do. And you have to be qualified to be certified through Nashville as a deputy. So you have to have
so you have the same certification as a deputy.
Yeah, you have to have the same. You have the same criteria, and you have to meet the criteria to be a deputy, to run for constable. So
can you arrest people as a constable? Not that you'd want to, but I just think it does.
There is actually, you. That's kind of
a gray area. in
It's a
Polk
gray area.
County.
I think in an instance like that, you would want to call for a backup for a deputy to come in. I think you always need to make sure you're not.
So that's not your thing. Is maybe just semi an open eye and serving papers.
Right. I mean, maybe doing funerals, maybe doing security at the Halloween party, block party, Apple Festival, the P Festival at Charleston Park. Checking on businesses when I come through Charleston at 12 o'clock. The sheriff's department is they're pulled so many ways.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just an added way to be able to.
Now, the history of the first constables, did they do more than the constable does now, or what was the purpose of the? I think there was a.
They did more. There's been, and that's why I said it's a gray area. Is that sometimes the counties decide whether or not they want constables. Bradley County has kept them. Hamilton County does not. So some of
So Hamilton County doesn't have
they
constables.
don't have constables.
It's up to the county to vote whether or not you can have county constables, because in Cleveland there's several districts, and I know there's at least 6 or 7 constables that they have for Cleveland. I don't want to just be a paper server. I want to be somebody who's part of the community. That's why I'm running.
Now that's Tom Cry's district, isn't it?
No, that was.
It is Tom, yeah.
The county commissioner.
County commissioner.
Tom Fry
Yeah.
And Louis Alford.
Yeah.
Yeah, Louis Alford, because they're both running for
Re-election.
re-election.
Yeah, re-election.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually ran into Collins, Tom Collins, the other day.
He's running for road.
He's running for road superintendent. Yeah. I ran into. Well, I didn't run into him, so that would have hurt. But it's. I'll tell you why I wanted to run for constable. I stopped to help somebody several months ago, and they said that somebody had stopped next to them and just went on. And it was, this would have been an individual in law enforcement. And I'm like, why? And they were stopped on Paul Huff. So if you're stopped on Paul Huff, people, first of all, they're going to beep their horns at you. They're going to get irritated that you're stuck on Paul Huff Parkway. You're going to be trying to figure out what's wrong with your vehicle, whether it needs to get towed, whatever. And nobody stops. And I stopped and I'm thinking, why? Why are we not helping this person? Why are we so afraid in this society that we just don't want to talk to people anymore? We just don't want to help them anymore?
I guess we assume the next guy's going to stop. We're in a hurry.
And we do live in a world where everybody is in a hurry. Everybody's, they're running here, running there, doing this, doing that. We've seen, we almost got hit over by Ocoee Street when somebody ran many years ago, but they ran right through the red line and they would have hit us. So, but why can't we stop? Maybe the person needs a jump. Maybe they need a phone call.
And that's in the constable's wheelhouse, or?
Yeah. I mean, as a constable, if I see somebody stuck on the road or something like that, I can pull behind them, find out what's going on. I don't just serve summons.
You'd be a constable can be a representative of his district.
Right, and I want to be a representative of my district, and people know who I am. I want, when they see the sign, I want them to know who I am. I want them to know why I'm running, what I believe, what I want to do, but I'm not making promises. Because if you make promises, people get mad, because then, but I would give 110% just to help people, because it's not a paid position.
Oh, it's not?
No, you have to make your money by doing summons for the courts. That's how you make your money.
And they're what, $20 or $25 or something? Not a lot, right?
That I don't know,
No.
but I do know that you can make a lot of money by just doing summons. But there's a whole lot of other things that you can do.
Now, are you going door to door? What's your campaign strategy?
When it starts warming up, door to door, meeting people where they are.
In the district?
In the district, meeting people where they are.
You're going to go house to house?
Yep. I ask people.
When is this election?
May 3rd.
May 3rd, but early voting is the
April 17th.
something like that, the third or fourth week of April.
Will you have enough time?
Oh yeah. I ask people wherever I go. I ask people if they live in Charleston, and if they do, I give them a card.
But Candy's Creek or Frontage Road isn't really Charleston, right?
It's not, but it's.
It is. I mean,
You're thinking if they're in Charleston, that's
because some people think if you live in Charleston, you live in Charleston by the elementary school. Yeah. And my daughter went to Charleston, and then both my kids graduated from Walker Valley. But some people think that if you're in the district of Charleston, that you live in Charleston. But we've observed Mouse Creek, Frontage Road, all the way to Polk County on Frontage Road. So the district is huge.
How many people generally vote in that election?
I'm not sure. I need to look at that, and I haven't yet. But I mean, it's going to be one of the larger districts, and I think all the districts are fairly well drawn out where the population is the same.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be the same as any other district.
How many districts are there?
9, I believe.
9, I think. But my philosophy on voting is we live in a country where we're still allowed to vote. People have fought and died in countries where they still can't vote. Right now you've got the Russians going in on Ukraine.
Yeah.
Okay. And I tell people, what if Kentucky was invading Tennessee?
Yeah.
You've got these people who are losing everything they got.
Yeah. Right as we speak.
As we speak, they're losing everything they have. And people in this country have taken voting for granted. Mm-hmm. Voting is a right that's given to us as human beings that we've fought for, we've died for. You give your input on who you want in what office. Can this person make a difference? Is this person who I think would do good in that office? But some people don't vote.
Let me tell you about Gobble's Automotive. They're on North Lee Highway, just past Captain D's. They're family owned, they're family operated. My whole family uses them. They've stood the test of time. They will do you a good job. Give them a try. They're no problem.
If you saw some of these old people literally fighting and dying so that we could be free and have a democracy, if you saw it in real time, you'd go vote every time you had a chance.
Absolutely.
When you saw what those people did so we could.
I tell people, if you don't complain if you didn't vote. I don't care who it's for.
What if you don't know either one of the candidates and you go in there and you know nothing? Who do you vote for? Or do you skip over that one?
I think that's where you have to know, or you have to do your homework.
Do you think we have an obligation to look at everybody on the ballot and to kind of study who we think?
I do, because my wife, we vote, and my wife goes on, and we know the candidates, and there's some people that, we would vote for, but we can't vote for because they're not, But we evaluate, see the history, see what they've done for this, what they've done if they want reelected, what they've done for the county, what they've done for the city. If it's a first timer, do we want to vote because they've been in office for 30 years? And it's
So you
easier
think we
to
have an
check.
obligation to look into the candidates a little bit?
Absolutely. You should know, like I said, you should know who I am when you see my sign. You should know Rick Humphries, what he stands for, what he's running for. You should know that, it should be more than just a sign that you see and you vote because you just check it to vote for it.
Are you Rick now or instead of Ricky?
He's bold.
I'm both. I'm both, man. I just, I'd rather be called Rick, but my mama always called me Rick.
And
Until
I
she
call him
passed
Ricky
away.
when he's in trouble.
Yeah, my wife calls me Ricky when I'm in trouble.
Is that a smartwatch?
It's just a regular.
Oh, it's not a smartwatch.
No,
It's a tracker.
it doesn't track half the freaking time, man. So it's.
What do
not
you mean
smart.
tracker?
Track
Yeah,
your steps.
tracker,
Oh.
your fitness tracker.
Yeah, see, I had weight loss surgery a year and a half ago.
Oh, you mean what do you have, that stomach tightening thing?
I had the big one where they staple your stomach and they can't go back and redo it. The bypass.
How did that help?
138 pounds in a year and a half.
So you weighed what before you did it?
434
Is that
pounds.
right?
Yeah.
God.
434.5 pounds.
He's lost a person.
And
If
I
you
had
touch
to,
that cord, it'll make a pop.
and I had to do it because I had high blood pressure because I've had both knees replaced. It was hard to get around. I've done diets, workout plans, the whole shebang. It just got to the point that, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
So when
I
they-
don't want to be not able to do anything.
When they stapled that, did you not get hungry then? How did that work?
It touched
It
that
takes
nerve.
they cut the nerve that makes you hungry, so you don't have that inclination to eat all the time.
Well, we
You don't
wonder if I
have
can do
you
that
don't
with
have
the
the
other
urge. I eat about 1,000 calories a day, and that's it.
So
and
how do they know which nerve affects your appetite?
well,
That's why they go to med school and we don't.
I mean,
I had to. It's not just a weight loss surgery. You have to first of all be referred by your regular doctor that you do have a need. Then you go to a psychiatrist, and you have to have the psychiatric.
so you're
Because they want to
They
know
want you to be in the
after the
right
surgery that you're going to do everything you do every day. Then you have to go. I did 2 classes online for Erlanger. And then the doctor wanted me to lose 20 pounds. So I lost 20 pounds. I was at 411 pounds when I had surgery. See, that's on top of having both knees replaced, my neck fused, reconstructive ankle surgery, shoulder surgery, wrist surgery, elbow surgery. I think that's it.
Was that due to the weight, or which came first?
The ankle came from playing ball, from basketball. We played a lot of basketball in high school. We played, The knees just got, I had those done in 2014. They just got to the point they were bone to bone. And they couldn't do anything for you unless, and I was 420 pounds when I had that done. That's why I go back to, and I say, if you're worried about everybody else in this world, then you're not competing with yourself to be a better person. When I got to that weight, I was disgusted with myself, and I don't mind saying that. Because at that point in time, I couldn't do anything. I was not able to, I didn't want my wife to have to take care of me. I mean, I'm 58 in pretty good health. I mean, my blood pressure is like 117/80.
That's good blood pressure.
I don't have
I
diabetes.
bet mine's higher than that.
My cholesterol's good. I'm much better than I was a year
You
and
got
a
a
half
lot
ago.
of hair.
Yeah, absolutely,
You
brother.
ain't lost a bit, have you?
And I keep it cut high and tight. My wife goes crazy. She'll be like, "Why are you cutting your hair? People have no hair." Not
If
saying
I had-
anything about you, Dee, but
If I had your hair and you in my face, we'd have something.
You'd be a match pair then.
But it's that's why I'm out here now, because I don't want to sit at the house. I want to do something.
You're doing something, aren't you?
I want to help people.
You're doing something that helps people, that you can have a bars where you can a platform.
Right, because I go back to, well, it's there. There's a Bible verse that talks about service to people. But I think, not everybody would get that, because some people would be, I'm not doing it. I'm not talking to somebody at Walmart. I'm not going to, I'm not just going to help anybody like the guy told me last night. Or why would you want to do that? Some people wouldn't get it. Some people aren't meant to do it, because, it's like corrections. Some people aren't meant to do corrections.
Was that hard?
I loved it, man. It's people. Corrections is simply people management. And when you go through orientation, they tell you that corrections will be people management. And when they tell you that, you think they're crazy. Because I worked in a 2,000 bed facility in West Tennessee. And it's people management. You got people going to chow, you got people going to school, you got people going to do work, you got people going outside. And they're doing something, unless they're in their pod, and not going anywhere, but it's people management. That's all you're doing. And if you don't know how to manage people, or if you're not, we go back to interpersonal relationships. If you don't have good communication skills, that's not the job for you.
Some people don't have that, do they?
No. No.
What's worse is somebody that thinks they have good management skills and doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. I'm not even going to say I am. I don't discuss theology with people, because people get mad when you do that. That's why I try to keep it simple. And, the Great Commission tells us to help people. There's verses in the Bible that I have that say we're supposed to serve others before ourselves. But corrections, I enjoyed it, because when you give somebody, like we go back to the tools, when you give somebody the tools they need to make it, and I know an individual right now, he was incarcerated, but man, this guy impresses me. He works hard. This guy is working all the time, trying to better himself. And that impresses me, because that means you've come out, you want to be part of the community. A new family moves into Charleston and they don't know anybody. And all you simply do is say, hey, I'm running for constable. This is what I'm running on. I'd love to have your vote. And I want you to know, if you see my truck, it's simple, man.
But why do you care?
Because, man, I've seen people who, it's like the buddy of mine. We've all been there. And if people say they haven't been there, then they're lying. We've either had no money in the bank, didn't know how we were going to pay bills, had to ask somebody for money to pay bills, had no gas in our car. Maybe we had a car that we couldn't drive. Maybe we didn't have a place to live. And maybe we put it on ourselves. But we've all been there. And, and it's maybe that one person, my cousin lives in Alabama. My aunt and uncle passed away in 2018, and they were retired Church of God ministers. My sister told me a story, and I guess this is what it's all about. My cousin is 30-something, 40-something, late 40s. He's had trouble. He's, the whole shebang. But a guy that my sister knew, and he went back to Alabama where they used to be, his mom and dad used to be ministers. The guy drove by, saw him, and my sister said that something told him to go back and pick him up. In other words, I'm just going to say the Lord said, and if people don't believe it, well, that's whatever. But the Lord said, go back, pick him up. And this is a guy who was from Alabama. My sister dated him. You know, he knew my uncle and aunt. Well, he goes back, and guess who it was? It was my cousin. Had a gas can in his hand. And it was my cousin who, my cousin and her husband pastor up here, and they've prayed and prayed. And this guy went back and picked him up. And when my cousin said, well, I'm so-and-so's son, he said, are you serious? And he took him in. He's staying behind their house. He's paying him $22 an hour. But it may be his last chance. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You never know when it's going to be the last chance that somebody might have to either be good to them, give them that helping hand, or just let them know that, you know, God is good. We still can talk about God in Cleveland, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. We can talk about it on air. And that's what I love about this country. We're still free, and we're not running to Poland because Russia's invaded us.
That's a big deal, isn't it?
They've sent troops to Poland. Sent American troops to Poland, airborne.
Fort Campbell.
What do you mean, parachute in?
They've sent airborne from Fort Campbell to Poland because people are running to Poland from Ukraine. And I can't imagine. You know,
in NATO countries.
I can't imagine what these folks are going through. And then I look and I get up in the morning. We got our house. I get out of my bed. I go upstairs. I eat. I turn, you know, whatever on. I get my vehicle, drive down the road, drive down here, see you. You know, we're sitting here. We don't have a fear. We're drinking coffee. We know that if we need to go to the grocery store, we go to Walmart, we go wherever. We don't have a fear of somebody, you know, telling us we can't talk about God, at least not yet. Mm. And that's why you help people. You help people because that's the right thing to do, man.
You're wanting to help people in a way that you can, in a way that you needed it when you came up.
Absolutely. Because even serving civil summons now, I meet people where they are in life. And I met some cool people.
You're not wanting to be mean to them.
No, you don't. You know, it's like corrections. These people have been judged. They've got to do their sentence, and then they get out.
No need in being mean.
No. You know, doing civil servant, I've actually had a few laughs. But almost everybody I've met has been cool. Mm-hmm. And it's not because I went in acting, you know, I'm somebody that I'm not. I never want to be somebody I'm not. I want to be who I am. I wear a flag every day because I love this country. I drive a truck with a flag on it because I love this country. I want to help people because I love people. My mother always said, you can't hate people, Rick. You got to love people. And at 84, when she passed away, she'd always say, you can't hate people and go to heaven. You got to love people. I said, Mom, I don't hate them. I just don't like them. She'd say, son, you can't hate people. I'm like, Mom, I don't hate them. I just don't like, no. But that comes from my mother being in church. You know, my mom and dad got married when she was 14, he was 16. My aunt and uncle were an integral part of my life, and they were retired church of God ministers. He was just like my brother. But my mom was always the same no matter who she was. Mm-hmm. If she was sick, she'd still pray for somebody else. She'd call them and find out and pray for them, even though she was sick. Because she always cared about everybody else. She always thought about everybody else but herself. I saw my mom in a condition And she was always in pain. Always in pain. She slept in a recliner for 18 years.
Golly.
Because she couldn't sleep in a bed.
Back pain?
She had degenerative disc in her back, and she could not sleep in a bed. And when she passed away, she was in a hospital bed, and she was in ultimate pain. Because, but she was always good to people, man. It didn't matter who you were. Well, if they went to Charlie's, for example, they'd be praying, but my mama would see somebody she knew or didn't know, and she'd start talking to them. Next thing you know, they'd be praying. Mm-hmm. My mom never met a stranger.
Did she retire at 65?
No, she actually retired at 40-something. Yeah, because she couldn't work anymore because her back was just blown, and she couldn't do anything. And then when my dad died in 2002, she moved in with my sister. My sister took care of her. But she always cared about people. My aunt and uncle, they'd give money to people. They lived at a parsonage in Alabama where they had their home broken into. They'd have people coming in there and want money. But they always help people. And there's the only description we have about that is in the Bible, what we're supposed to do. You can't go to school, and this is what I'll tell you is truth. You can't go to school and you can't learn it there. I got a friend of mine who's Native American, and he's my brother. And they don't just tell people from that culture, they just don't call you brother if you're not a brother. And we're brothers, man. We're just, we graduated together and we're brothers. But there's no, they can teach you everything in school about how to do it. What you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, point A to point B to point C. But there's really no guide to it. And I guess that's what you're asking me, because it's just there. It's just there. I mean, it's just me, what I was instilled as a kid and a teenager and later in life, what I've seen, where I've been, that's just who I am. That's just what I want to do. I want to help people. I don't want a pat on the back. I don't want nothing in return.
And you're not really trying to figure out why.
No. Because when I leave this world, we all have to die. I want to know at the end of my time, that after all the stuff I've done, stupid stuff, left and right, we've all done stupid stuff. But at the very end, I want to know that I was good to people.
That's important to you, isn't it?
It is. I take it very seriously. My wife will tell you, I take that very serious. Being a veteran, I take homeless veterans who don't have a place to sleep and all that other stuff serious. I've got veterans who have PTSD. I've talked to veterans, friends of mine who've been in rehab for stuff that we still talk, we communicate. It's not something you can learn at school, man.
You just have a desire to help people, and running and being a constable is a way that you can do it. That fits your personality.
Absolutely. I just want to be able to help that person who's, do the summons, do funerals, do whatever they need. I'm not looking to be a deputy. I'm looking at my community in Charleston area, to be a part of that, but letting people know that, hey, this guy's just here to serve, man. This guy just wants to help, just wants the community to be better. And that's why I go back. If you just say hi to somebody, it can make somebody's day, man. Somebody's having a bad day, and you say, hey, how you doing? You doing all right? Just saying thank you to somebody, shaking a hand.
It makes a bigger deal than we realize.
Absolutely.
It may not, but to the right person, it's a big deal.
Absolutely. It's
Now, how can people vote for you, Ricky?
Well, I've got a Facebook page that says Ricky Humphries for Constable. They can go on. You can look up Ricky Humphries. It's got my little thing that says Ricky Humphries, Constable District 2. But voting takes place, I guess early voting would be at the courthouse or the post office across from the courthouse downtown. And
they have until April 10th, I think, to do register. First, they have to be registered.
okay, they have to be a registered voter in Bradley County. You have to vote for me, you have to be in my district. So the voting there takes place at Walker Valley on May 3rd, but they can vote anywhere where there's a voting station.
Prior.
Right. But District 2, you have to live in District 2 to vote for me.
I see.
Because, and like District 4, you have to live in District 4 to vote for, what's his name? Howard Thompson, I think he's running for commissioner again. So you'd have to, but the constable, you'd have to live in District 4. So they can do early voting. I know they have at the post office across from the courthouse. They have early voting there. At the election commission. And they do early voting at
Two other outposts, but I'm not sure where they're going to be this year.
But you can vote. I know they vote at Walker Valley. They have different areas to vote for the districts. So you have to find out. But Walker Valley is the main voting place for District 2.
If you win that one, you're good, right?
Yeah.
There's no Democrat.
We have, I look at it this way. I've had people ask me all kinds of questions, but the finality is this. I'm not worried about who's running against me. I don't really care. It's not because I'm being mean. It's because, once again, if I'm worried about everybody else, then I'm not competing with myself to make myself a better person and to try and make our community a better community that we live in.
And that's what it's about for Ricky Humphries.
That's it. That's it, man. That's the bottom line.
And go Junkyard Dogs.
The Junkyard Dogs, brother. Absolutely, man.